Right. Hello, Thursday warriors who happen to be here on Sunday.
A delayed
welcome.
Thursday.
Yeah, it's actually still Thursday. We just we're going to be talking a lot about time travel today, so it's appropriate. It's still Thursday technically.
Yes,
it's Thursday somewhere. I am John. Thank you everybody for being here at the New Dimension Comics podcast. With me as always,
Tim. Thanks for coming, everybody. And today we have co-writer of Time Before Time and writer of Write It in Blood, which was the original graphic novel. This is Rory McConville. Is that how you say it? I say it right?
Yeah, that's dead right.
Sweet. So we've got him here today, and we're going to talk about both of those books, and if you're reading them, why it's awesome, and if you're not, what's wrong with you. But John's got some stuff first, I think.
Yeah. While we wait for some more people to jump on the feed, don't forget to also like, share, subscribe, comment, and you can jump in the chat and talk there too. We have some cool NDC stuff coming up. Saturday, November 20th is going to be our Hunker Down for the Holiday sale. All the details for all these sales are coming out later this week. So just if you aren't getting our news blast email, make sure you sign up for it so you can find out what's going on with these. Wednesday, November 24th, which is Thanksgiving Eve, is also local comic shop day because for some reason Comics Pro likes to put it on the day before Thanksgiving where people don't care. And Friday, November 26th, is the Blackest Friday, per usual, Black Friday sales. I'm hoping to have all the stores' hours for that day also on our website by the end of the week. So make sure you guys check that out. And then we'll also be doing a Cyber Monday sale on graphic novels on our website exclusively. So make sure you guys check that out. It will probably be something similar to last year. Probably like around 15 or 20% off all graphic novels all across all of our websites, which includes Time Before Time. So make sure you guys check all of that stuff out. So, all right, Tim, go for it.
Well, welcome. Thank you for being here today. Awesome to have you. We had talked to Declan months ago before Time launched and got a good response and a bunch of people that subbed to it at the store. And the graphic novel just came out. I think it was either last week or the week before.
2 weeks ago, I think.
Yep. And then the newest issue, which is the start of the second arc, I believe, just came out this past week. So thought it'd be a good chance to have you on and, learn a little bit more about you. And, Declan did tell us about, some things about how you guys met, but interested to learn about you and maybe some of your inspiration stuff for this awesome book. So
cool.
So we want to do the origin first?
Origin story. Yeah. So how you got involved in comics, whatever you want to tell us, things like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So I suppose initially the way I got into comics was kind of, I grew up in Ireland and we didn't at the time have a lot of comic shops. So the main way I kind of got into them was probably through like the 90s animated shows of like X-Men, Spider-Man, Batman. And there'd be these kind of, in news agents, there'd trying to be these compendium collections of like US comics, which were mainly kind of X-Men, Spider-Man stuff. So that was kind of the main way I got in. And over time, as I was reading, I gradually got more interested in writing them. So I'm trying to think, I've been writing them for quite a while. I'm trying to think like I suppose origin, it would probably start in Thought Bubble, which is a convention in the UK where 2000 AD every year kind of have a talent competition. where they get writers in to pitch a future shot, which I don't know if you're familiar, is kind of like a short story, sci-fi short story about 4 pages with a twist at the end. So this was it 2014 or 2015? I went to this convention, which is in Leeds in the UK, and I pitched a story, and it was kind of about, ironically, a time-traveling chrono-cosmetic surgeon, which was like a plastic surgeon for your personal timeline. And that ended up winning the competition. So I started working with 2000 AD, and gradually kind of moved on to other series like Judge Dredd, and started doing kind of regular work with them. And since then, it's been mainly working with them while also trying to kind of create our own series, doing a bit of work in the US market as well. So I suppose that would be that would kind of lead up to the present, doing Writers in Blood and Time Before Time. So that would be the origin.
And this was, I'm trying to remember, was this like your idea mainly, and then like you got with Declan, or was this kind of like, hey, let's work on a project together, and then you guys like kind of came up with that together?
So I think it was actually again at Thought Bubble in 2018 when Deck and I first kind of discussed the idea of doing a project together. And I definitely, because time travel is a storytelling subject I've always been really interested in. So I was kind of quite keen to do something in that area. And so initially I'd suggested something that would have been a bit more, I think, hard sci-fi, let's put it that way. Whereas Deck, I think, to try and find a way for that it would be a project that we would both be interested in, I decided to kind of turn it into more of a crime story with sci-fi elements, if you know what I mean. But I think, kind of the general high concept was kind of mainly me, I would say.
Okay.
And then we kind of developed it from there.
That's awesome. I went through, I had read the first 3, I think, when they had come out, and then I had them kind of stacked. So I started over again and read all 6. I have to say the 6th issue is pretty brutal. Declan draws.
It's not a cheerful story.
Yeah, Declan draws a really good scene here with Morley being attached to the outside of the time machine. And wow, it was pretty brutal. But we were talking beforehand about like, it kind of gave us like a Blade Runner feel. Was there any like kind of inspiration for you
Blade Runner, not so much. I can see, I think maybe that would be kind of more Joe's aesthetic, would be where that would come in. But I think obviously Looper, that film.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Strong, just in terms of the slightly more streamlined kind of time travel, or kind of the grittiness of it that we kind of wanted to emulate a bit. That would be a key influence, I think.
Okay. So please tell me this is planned for like more, like this isn't going just 12, right? Are we talking like as long as they'll let you guys?
We have a definite idea of where it will end, but it's a while out. Like, we're working on Arc 3 at the moment. Let's put it that way.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
And we're hoping, so for instance, the issue Deck drew is a kind of a standalone one-shot. And what we're hoping is kind of every arc of, say, 5 issues will have a standalone issue in between that will kind of explore other bits and pieces away from the main storyline. Okay.
Well, if you want to like have somebody land in like Pittsburgh in like 2021 and just have a guy named Tim get punched in the face and then they jet right back out, like you have permission to use my likeness for that. So,
or if you want the said Tim to fall into then a dude who happens to be named John with no H, I would also be cool with that.
So I noticed on the 6th issue that Declan did the artwork on this. Is he doing it on the next arc, or was this kind of a transition issue and then Joe back on it after that?
Yeah, no. So Joe will be back for the second arc, and what we're hoping to do with these one shots is kind of bring guest artists in, like Deck for this one, and then for 12, I think will be another guest artist.
Okay.
But yeah, it's if you want more Deck though, just let him know, and we might be able to convince him into doing another one.
I mean, it was weird because when it came out, I love his art, and I was like, oh man, I want to see him, draw it. And then, I saw the first issue that Joe did, and I was like, man, this is really nice too. And then the more I started reading it, I was like, man, I really like this. This is like the perfect style, like complements this perfectly. And then we went to issue 6, and Declan was in there, and I was just like, it was just like a little treat, just like kind of just dropped in there, But like, I love both guys. I thought that Joe's done a fantastic job so far, and I have not finished Write It in Blood. I bought it, and I'm about halfway through it, and I love his art in that too. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing like where this is going to go after this. So this would make an amazing TV show, or so I could see this on like Netflix or something. It'd be amazing.
Well, here's hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny actually you say about the Joe and Deck thing, because when we were in the lead up to the series, we actually had Joe do kind of these 5 one-page kind of short stories, and one of them is actually a page from issue 6. So I think Deck tweeted about it, but there's 2 pages basically where you can see them interpreting the same events with their own styles, which was quite cool to see.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it might be just Joe's art that makes it have that slight Blade Runner vibe. But it did have a cool, almost Philip K. Dick story vibe to it as well, which I really enjoyed, because I do really enjoy that kind of style of stuff. But it, I just thought it was just well done. I think you guys hit the right team for this whole project, and it's just been killer, man. Like I know our sales of it have been going up every time an issue comes out, so good news for you.
Yeah,
keep you employed.
That is great to hear.
And this is the whole team from Write It in Blood, right? This is Declan joined you guys, and it's just your whole team from that graphic novel, right? Yeah, that's awesome.
It's funny actually, because we had time before time the development of it actually happened before Write It in Blood. So we had been working on the idea for quite a while, and as I was working on Write It in Blood, we were having difficulty finding an artist that we wanted, and kind of as time went on, and as I'd be sharing pages with Deck of Joe's work and stuff, and so as time went on, we kind of just settled on the idea, well, maybe we'll just see if Joe would be interested, and thankfully he was.
So while you're writing this, do you have like a couple other things that you're working on? Because I know from talking to Declan, he's just doesn't stop. Like, seems like he's up all day, every day, just working on drawing something, writing something. So are you got anything else like that you're working on outside of Time Before Time?
I do. Well, I'm still doing Judge Dredd now and then for 2000 AD, and there's also a US US comic that I'm doing a bit of work for that I unfortunately can't mention yet, but that should be coming out in the not too distant future. Okay.
Well, whenever it comes out, if you want to hop back on, you let us know.
Will do.
That's so awesome. Writing a book like Write It in Blood, which is set in Texas, or at least I'm not, since I haven't finished it, I don't know if the whole thing takes place the entire way through Texas, but it definitely opens in Texas. Is there any challenges for you like that? Being over in London and I don't know how much time you've spent here, like trying to, capture that and make sure you get the right atmosphere, like in your writing and your story.
Yeah, I mean, I spent a year living kind of in on the west coast of the state, so I would have been down in Texas at times and traveling through. And I
Okay.
suppose the biggest thing that I wanted to capture, and it kind of ended up being more Joe's responsibility, was just the landscape was the big thing.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, definitely, I didn't, as an Irish person, certainly was well used to being misrepresented in media. I was definitely conscious of trying not to do the same to Texas. But so yeah, I definitely was kind of reading up quite a bit to try and make sure I didn't put my foot in it massively.
Well, I think that he did a good job of capturing the landscaping on that. It looks like parts of Texas where you can see where you want to go 20 miles down the road, and then it's just a straight road, and it's like that scene in Monty Python when Lancelot keeps running up to the castle, but he's always far away. That's what it's like driving some places in Texas. So I feel like he definitely captured that in the landscaping. So I'm enjoying that book so far, and it's available everywhere online. You can get it on Amazon. We'll try and get some in the store. If you read on your iPad, it's on Comixology, I think. So
actually, I bet we already have it in the store, but I'm gonna look while you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
because we're a Comic Hub store, so why wouldn't we? Right.
Is there anything you can share with us about what we can expect in this second arc coming up, without giving away too much?
I'm trying to think. Well, I suppose one of the big thrusts of the first. That's one of the big thrusts of one of the characters, Nadia Wells, in the first arc is that she's trying to find where her family is.
Yeah.
And arc 2 basically will see her reach the destination where she expects to find her family, but something else has happened in the interim that creates a bit of a mystery about this is about where they've ended up, basically.
Okay. There was a really brutal scene in there because Oscar in the first issue meets his end very quick. He's introduced and then stuck in the future, several futures, I think, and then comes back, is really old, and he takes that pill to put himself to sleep. And then later on, it might even be in issue 5 or 6, he shows back up again. He was one of the people that was working with Nadia's family, if I remember correctly, right? To when they were first trying to go off.
No, I think that was it Helgi was the one who was.
I'm trying to remember whose family. The guy at the beginning of issue 6, the dad. That was who he was. Yeah, and there's a that I got him mixed up, and there's a real brutal scene with Morley where he just, because when you see Oscar in the beginning and he has this relationship with Tat, and they seem very close, like really nice, guys with good hearts, and then to see him in this role where he's just like pummeling this guy, almost like he's enjoying it. That was kind of a shock too, because we didn't know much about the character. So now to see some of this unfold, and you realize, I think there's a line in there, was like, these guys, their hands aren't clean. They've done bad things.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, and that was definitely one of the things we wanted to do with that issue, was kind of explore. And I think that will be a thing that will continue into the second arc, is the idea that Tat and Oscar, they are victims in a way, but they also have done horrible things. And I think what we wanted to reaffirm as well is that Oscar having seen what happens to Maloney in 6, that kind of informs his reluctance to try and run away in issue 1 as well, because he can see what happens if you try that and it goes wrong.
Yeah. Now, for anybody that hasn't been paying attention, the artwork and stuff on the covers is fantastic, but on the back, you have the timeline that goes down the side, and all these years seem to be the ones that are in the story, the ones that are highlighted. And I thought that was a really interesting touch to add that on each issue. So each issue will have different years highlighted depending on the issues that are traveled to in that story.
Yeah, that was an all credit to Deck for that idea. That was him. He's done a lot in terms with Sasha, our designer, and kind of figuring out stuff like that.
Yeah,
really cool.
Yeah, I saw it on
That's
his
awesome.
Twitter, and he was very excited that somebody had noticed it. And I just wanted to be like, I noticed it. I just figured everybody else noticed it. So then I didn't say anything because I didn't want to be like, oh, I noticed it too, and like take away from it. But like, he seemed really excited that somebody noticed it. I just wanted to point that out because I thought it was a really cool thing too. So,
it's not in the trade parts though. Like where the back covers would be in the graphic novel, they are not on that part though. I have all the singles, and then I was like, crap, I gotta reread this. So I bought the graphic novel just to reread it. So you got more money out of me.
I do the same thing.
Because I was like, I don't want to dig it out. I gotta find it all. But I was just like, I don't remember seeing that in the graphic novel, and it is not part of that. Though I did find that really cool when I was reading the singles. So I just thought all the extra little almost Easter eggy things throughout the whole book are just very well done.
So in terms of whether it's stuff that you're reading now, are you reading anything now, or is there something that that you were reading or had been reading that what's your interest as far as what other stuff goes? It could be books or comics. It could be, whatever.
I think one I've been reading lately that I thought was really great was the Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk run.
Yes.
That's been, I know that recently wrapped, and I just thought, it's so rare nowadays to have like a single creative team working on a project for so long and with such kind of continuous quality, basically.
Yeah.
I just thought it took that character in such interesting directions that it hasn't gone in quite a while. So that's one. And I've been rereading some Why the Last Man and Ex Machina, which are two kind of I think all-time favorites of mine.
Yeah, we were a little bummed when the show got canceled. So
that was surprise. Well, you just think about how long that show's been in development, I think, and then for it to drop after one season must be quite frustrating.
I feel like knowing that Disney owns the majority of the that platform, that there was something in place that it had to be released, just like that New Mutants had to be released. So maybe once that first season got released, it was always the plan to let it go since it's a Vertigo comic. So that's what gives me hope that it'll end up someplace else, is that, there was probably something in place that, because I think that was what they did with New Mutants. This was already in development. So you're buying Fox. But part of the thing they had to sign off on was that this movie would be released in theaters, so those actors could get paid for whatever bonuses and stuff they had. So
I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it the other day, and I thought, Why the Last Man kind of has like an AMC vibe, like kind of how Walking Dead kind of had, and I think that would be a really, really good place for that to hit. Or even BBC, since they're owned by AMC. So
as long as they keep that tone of the first season, because that's where Walking Dead, like maybe the first 2 seasons had a really nice tone to it, and then I think as it got popular, it kind of switched gears and they started to get further and further away from what the actual story was in the books. I think it frustrated me a lot, but
yeah, same. I kind of got through like the governor story, and then I was like, yeah, that's not right, and then I was out.
Yeah. and I gave it up till probably, even though I wasn't happy with it, till Abraham, and then I was like, now I'm done. So, but I'm glad to hear that you've been reading Immortal Hulk, because that was one of my favorite books over the last few years, and I did probably the most in-depth review we've ever done on one of our episodes, where I just was breaking down like every panel of the last issue, because it was fantastic.
I pretty much just like fell asleep on the sign and just let him roll
while I was talking.
Not that I didn't enjoy it. I didn't fall asleep. I did enjoy hearing about it, because like I kind of read the first like 2 or 3 issues and was like, this is a little too horror Hulk for me, and I don't know if I like that as the Hulk that I want, because I was always just a big Mr. Fix-It fan. Like I really love the Peter David stuff. So for me, it was just kind of a little too weird. But I know a lot of people that loved it, and everybody has their own opinions, and that's awesome. The people loved it, and I know a lot of people that loved it. But literally, Tim talked about it every week. Every single time I'd walk in the store, he'd be like, "Dude, Hulk, dude," and I'm just like, "I know."
And
So.
I was never real big into solo Hulk books before.
Yeah.
I mean, the Peter David stuff was good, but more recently, I felt like they hadn't really done anything that was worth reading. And then this came out, and it was fantastic. So,
yeah.
Did you have you read the finale yet?
I have not. So
do not go
don't
back.
Listen to.
Do not.
I mean, you can just go back an episode and listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
About it if you want.
Don't do it. I don't want to ruin this for you. Or you'll really draw a picture, have some scene with me getting punched in the face, or worse.
Yes. Yes.
Because it's is it 80 pages the final?
Yeah,
it's big.
Let me see if I have it sitting here.
It's square bound, so
it's square bound.
Right.
So it's either 50 or 80. But yeah, it was pretty massive, and they it jumped around a little bit. I'll just say that. But I had read an article that I guess it was supposed to be a longer run, and Marvel cut it short.
Oh, right. That's
yeah. So yeah,
I thought they would have kept that going as long as they could.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if it was just Donny Cates and him are switching titles now. So I don't know if it was, since his run was wrapping up, like, hey, let's get you done as quick as possible so you can swap titles. But yeah,
and
so
did it feel abrupt in the ending then, or?
No, I liked the ending because it was very Hulk. I thought that it still was mysterious without giving away everything. That way, whoever comes in next and wants to play in that sandbox, or piggyback off of that they have stuff, instead of just giving it like this finality to it. It's just more of like, it evolved and it changed, and the run's over, but whoever takes it next can take it wherever they want. And I thought that was cool. So
cool.
Yep.
Well, once I've gotten a chance to read it, I'll have to check out your review video.
Please don't. I'm terrible at reviews. We're not professionals. We get on and I'm like, a comic book is great. So it's always intimidating when we have writers on and artists on, and then we will review books, and that's how I feel like I come across when we review books in front of them. So when it's not, I'm like I feel like I'm an all-star, but so
how long did you work for 2000 AD?
Well, I still do the odd bit and piece, but I suppose regularly it's kind of been since about 2016, I think. With the majority of it being kind of on Judge Dredd.
Cool. All right. So I have to tell you this funny story. So I went to Baltimore Comic-Con 2 weeks ago, and the COVID check line was huge. It was seriously an hour long. It was the entire length of one side of the convention center. And at one point, you kind of have to like dip down this road and come back up the other side. And as we're coming up the other side, there is a cosplayer of Batman Who Laughs, right?
All right.
And this guy behind me is like, "Oh, it's Batman Who Laughs," and I'm like, "No, dude, that's Judge Death." Like, and I kept really hard trying to get him to believe me that it's Judge Death. So, are you one of the people that really? Because like, there's like two camps. There's the I don't care that he looks like Judge Death, and then there's he's a blatant ripoff of Judge Death. I am the second camp.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's Judge Death is a fairly distinctive style, and I think I mean, like, it doesn't really make any difference for me. I don't own Judge Death, but I think the resemblance is pretty clear. Like,
yeah. I was just like, wow, Capullo's just like they just like wake up and be like, oh, like to see a Judge Dredd book. Be like,
I'll have
you know
that.
what?
Yeah,
I could probably swipe this.
I mean, who
The
knows?
U.S. audience won't know.
Well, that's quite true. I'd say.
Actually, we have I have one of my managers at our Ohio store is a very big Judge Dredd fan, and he actually has Judge Death tattooed. I think he's on his leg. He's like huge. It's like up like this whole part of his leg.
Wow. If it like a particular pose or anything, or just his head, or
I think it's like torso up.
Right. Wow.
And so it almost looks like an album cover or a comic cover. It's awesome. It's awesome. So I'm not that big of a Judge Dredd fan, but the last thing I read that was Judge Dredd was in Anthrax had put out that Among the Living graphic novel where they had a bunch of original stuff, and Scott Ian actually wrote a Judge Dredd story in there, and it was really good.
Oh, I think Chris Weston draw that?
I think you're right.
Yeah. I think I saw a headline about that or something.
Yeah, it was really good. So it's not often we get to talk to anybody about Judge Dredd seriously.
We really don't. So that's kind of cool. So is there a dream project or something? I mean, obviously getting to do your own creator-owned stuff is probably a dream in itself, but was it is there anything like when you were first breaking in, you're like, man, I wish I could write this character, or I wish I could play with, this universe?
I think if it was I think it would probably be X-Men. I think X-Men was definitely my gateway drug, like, and I think particularly with what they're doing in the whole House of X, Powers of X era is just really, it's probably the most exciting it's been, I think, since the Grant Morrison run, just in terms of pushing everything forward, and like, X-Men.
I think this is why I like you and Declan a lot, because he likes X-Men also, and that's my main thing is X-Men, and Inferno's going on right now. The second issue came out, and it's like going to wrap up Hickman's involvement in it, and it's fantastic.
I think with stuff, one thing I'd always love to know is like what all the stuff also that never happened, if you know what I mean. Like, what was his original plan, and why are we not? Well, we know why we're not seeing it, because they don't want to move past whatever phase they're in. But I'd love to like be able to see the kind of alternate universe of people's plans as well. But I mean, the universe of plans we have is also quite good, to be fair.
Yeah, I feel like they've been a lot better with just letting people run with what they want under C.B. Cebulski, because there was a article or something that Donny Cates was talking about his first what was it, his arc in Death of the Inhumans. It was like Joe Quesada and all these guys, they're all sitting there, and he had pitched this idea thinking that they were going to tell him, you need to pull back on it, and somebody had jumped up and they're like, you can't kill Lockjaw. What's wrong with you? And then Joe Quesada jumps up and he's like, no, that's exactly why you can. He's like, because of the way you reacted. And they just basically, from what it sounded like, let him run with his story as is. And I get that vibe from Marvel right now because they have a lot of stuff that's coming out that's very creative, more so than it has been in the past. So I feel like they're really probably loosening the reins and just letting writers do cool stuff.
Yeah, it's I think just the Hickman stuff. It's just how big the ideas are and how far in advance they seem to be planned ahead. Like, I mean, it just feels like he's had the whole thing ready from go, which is just mind-boggling.
Well, reading your time travel stuff, it kind of makes me want to read like a cable book that maybe you would do. I think that would be cool.
I would definitely be on for a cable book.
I feel like that would be amazing.
Or Bishop. Bishop would be cool too.
Oh yeah.
We haven't had a good Bishop book in a long time.
Yes, it's been a real long time. He had that 4-issue mini, like the foil cover and stuff, and I think that's been.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Or did he? He did have one. It wasn't Bishop, but it was like District X, and he was like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
right. I forgot about that. That was during the House of M storyline, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. It was like in Mutant Town or M Town, I think they called it. He was just that was a pretty good arc too. So, but I was going to say, go ahead, please.
I was just thinking, like normally when we zoom in with somebody, like the room has like a ton of stuff on it, and you have pretty much nothing in there. But part of me was like really hoping that there would be some kind of crazy like wall, like because it's time travel, so you have like your like the ropes that go to each place, and it'd be because like I don't know if you've ever watched Dark on Netflix. It was like a German show that they overdubbed, and like to figure that timeline out is so hard.
I know I haven't seen Dark, but I've heard about it, and because it's just like 3 seasons and done, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I've heard it's kind of this. Is it like a town or something through all these different periods?
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah. No,
it's like the story of like 2 families in like a 40-year jump each time. So it starts like in 2011 or something, and it goes back to like 71, and then it goes forward into like 51, and then it goes even further into like 91. So it's actually kind of cool the way they keep hopping around. But then they go like really far into the future, and like just stuff starts getting real crazy, and then there's like an alternate world, like time. It's so crazy,
right?
But every time I think of any kind of time travel, that's kind of what I imagine is like, how do I keep this shit straight? Like,
that sounds like exactly my kind of thing. But because when I've seen it pop up on Netflix, I'm like, whenever I finish Time Before Time, like this, I can watch it then. But for now, like, there's just too much time travel stuff in the brain to.
Yeah.
Right.
But
so does that mean does that mean you're not going to watch the Doctor Who premiere today?
Well, I think I can get away with Doctor Who because it's I don't think it's going to be as convoluted as the Dark time travel setup. But I was going to say something, and I've totally lost my train of thought. But sorry, go on.
So, but I always like we were talking.
Good, sorry.
I was going to say we were talking briefly beforehand a little bit about Doctor Who, and I said I was a Chimble era fan, and I liked it better when you binge it. Like it just felt better, because it didn't feel so sporadic, and I liked it because I liked his Torchwood stuff. But are you a fan of current Doctor Who? Like, was that one of the things that got you into like time travel stories, or is it just fun?
It was. I think it was more the Moffat era stuff was when I got in, kind of with the tail end of the 10th and then the start of the 11th would have been when I jumped in. So I think definitely a lot of that yeah, I think definitely the Moffat era stuff would be where a lot of my interest in time travel comes from. Um, Kind of also like as regards like sometimes making it a bit, or like trying to dial it back so it's not too overcomplicated, which I think was a thing that happened every now and then in that era.
Mhm.
But no, I mean Doctor Who is great. Like I love it. It's so
Yeah.
much fun.
I've never
I've
seen
been
Doctor Who.
I've-
I feel like I should be walked out in the street and
well, I'll take you out back
shame,
next time.
shame.
No, it's
my
fine.
my love
Dude.
of time travel always came from just Back to the Future. That was
Oh yeah.
like I did a whole thing in a critical thinking class. Was like debating back and forth, and I did a big debate that won about why the second one is the best of the three. So,
what was your reasoning?
I the one thing that I pointed to was a lot of the things that they came up with that are things that are real today. You know, like the digital advertisements, slam ball, you know, in the newspaper, all those different things that you can't help but wonder, did they provide, you know,
Inspiration
like
for
inspiration for
Yeah.
that for a generation. So and that was one of the things I liked about it. And I like the third one. I don't know why people give it such a hard time. I think the third one's a lot of fun. So
Every time I watch the third one, I'm just waiting for like John Carter of Mars to like walk out of a cave and be like, "Oh hell no," and then just go back. So cool. All right. What else do we want to talk about today?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's a Sunday. I think
I know.
I'm trying to wake up still.
Yeah. And it's Halloween. I mean,
yeah,
true.
That's right. This is our spooktacular. Can I say that? Spooktacular.
Sure.
We had our trick or treat last night, and we just locked the doors and turned the lights out. It's my street,
and then open
like,
the door and let kids in.
No, my street is like we get thousands.
Oh, really?
Probably like 1,000 kids in 2 hours that come down. It's ridiculous, and I'm like, I don't really feel like spending the money on that right now.
Yeah.
You got to spend a lot of money, $200-300 worth of candy just to make sure you're covered. So
yeah,
it's like, well, I'll get the pressure washer out in case there's eggs. So
nice.
Yeah,
I went to a haunted. It's like a ghost story thing of a haunted hotel, like an old hotel lodge thing, just east of Pittsburgh by about an hour with my Star Trek group, which was funny because I really wanted us to dress up and kind of be like, we're here researching this thing in time, but that didn't happen. But it was really cool. Like there were some, like they told some cool ghost stories. They told some true stories of like people who actually did die there. And then like we got to watch a dude do some blacksmithing, and it was awesome. So yeah,
that's actually cool.
That's I don't like haunted houses like at all. One of our guys at one of our stores actually owns one underneath one of our warehouses.
All right.
So yeah, right. So like we had like a little vendor thing and stuff like that, and I was just like, I'm not gonna be there. I don't like haunted houses. No way in hell are you getting me.
Yeah.
We had to let our boss deal with it. So it probably either was half decent or awful. So so, but no, it was probably a good time. I just can't do it. My wife loves haunted houses though. I'm just like, nope.
Yeah, no, I'd be the same. I don't get them. Why you would do that to yourself?
Yeah, why scare yourself like that?
Right.
We have one that's Rich's Fright Farm. I forget where it's nearby, and they have a hayride that goes down to the haunted house. So that way, if you get scared, you get to run through the cornfield on the way back. So super scary. And one of the rooms just has like paper mache Michael Jackson in there.
That is the
And then
scariest thing in the world.
Yeah,
yeah, and I was like, oh, this is terrible that they did this. Why would you do this? Poor Michael. Poor.
well, I
watched-
guess their job is to scare people. So
There
Yes,
you go.
yeah.
Yeah, I watched movies that made us the horror films they just released, which was awesome because it was like Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, RoboCop, and I forget what the other one was.
Cop's not
and-
a horror film.
It's kind of a horror film if you really want to think about it. You know, come on, man. They filmed some of that futuristic, terrible shit in Pittsburgh. It's pretty horrifying.
Well, no, it was the scene where he's doing the sights when he's adjusting his sights in the steel mill.
Yeah,
That was filmed in Denora.
yeah.
Yeah,
All those scenes were filmed there.
yeah.
But I then was like, damn, I haven't watched any of these movies in so long. So I rewatched Halloween 1 and Friday the 13th, or I'm sorry, Nightmare on Elm Street, and they both still hold up very well. So Halloween is like my favorite Halloween or horror series. I don't know what your guys are, but that's my favorite one because Michael Myers is just terrifying for me. So and I watched the second volume of It finally. Like that was pretty good.
Do you get into horror films?
I'm not hugely into horror, mainly because I'm just terrified by most of them.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's switch it. Did you watch Dune?
No, I have not seen Dune yet. I'm hoping to get to it next weekend, but I've heard a lot of good things.
It's very, very good. I
Yeah.
last week or 2 weeks ago when it came out, right? 2 weeks ago, last week, whatever it was, 2 week and a half ago. I watched the '80s one in the morning,
Right.
and then we did our podcast, and then I watched the new one, and it pretty much is like the first half of that movie.
Right.
And it's updated to look a lot cooler, but it's pretty much the same story. So
Right.
but I really enjoyed the hell out of it, and then I found Children of Dune on DVD, the sci-fi show, for $6, so I bought that.
All right.
So very excited about that.
Because I think is the plan to make it this new one a trilogy or something eventually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're planning to do all of regular Dune in 2 parts.
Right.
And then they would do Messiah of Dune as a separate, or Messiah and Children together as a separate movie.
Okay.
So at least that's what I'm understanding. So I still think it was funny that in the 80s when that movie came out, like when you went into the theater at the premieres, they handed you like pretty much like a book of here's all the crap you need to know to understand this movie.
Right. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it was like, here's some history of all the houses, and here's some language, and here's where the story's taking place, and all this stuff. And I'm just like, good God, if I were handed that walking into the theater, I'd have been like, yeah, I'm just not going to watch this movie. Like, what the?
Yeah.
I'm here to watch a movie, not read a book. But then it ended up being one of the.
An interesting way of delivering exposition is just like making you take a class beforehand, and then you can watch the film and just.
So I've never seen the sci-fi show version of it, but I heard that they really do a good job of doing that kind of stuff in the first like 2 episodes and then getting into the heart of the movie for the rest of the season.
Right.
So but it's real good. So I recommend it to everybody.
Cool.
So what is going on over across the pond? Anything cool that we should be aware of, that we should know, and nerd-wise or not?
Anything cool? I don't know now. It's I'm trying to think. I think there was a convention in London last weekend.
Oh yeah, what MCM or something?
MCM, yeah.
Yeah. How'd that go?
Well, I wasn't at it because I was actually I've been in Spain for the past week on holiday.
Oh,
but there's Thought Bubble actually is coming up in 2 weeks' time. So
cool.
That will hopefully be good. And other than that, it's just getting really cold and miserable. To be honest.
Yeah.
Same.
And I
Yeah,
think
That's why
I
it's my
think
favorite time of the year.
yeah,
right. Yeah, I think MCM was the same weekend as Baltimore and the Fan Expo in Toronto here. So
oh yeah.
Terrificon, I think is what it's called, right?
How did you or like how was the whole situation with like you were saying were the restrictions or like the entry things were they intense or how?
Not really. Like so they did a very good job of letting people know ahead of time you either needed to have your vaccination card either physically or a picture of it, and then or you needed to have proof of a negative test within, I think it was 48 hours or 72 hours. And if you didn't have either of those, they made you go take a rapid test, but if they made you do it, you had to pay the $30 to get it done.
Oh,
So it was like, bring your stuff
yeah.
or you're going to pay
Yeah.
another $30. But once you got that, like once you got to it and your clearance was checked, they just gave you a wristband that said they checked it, and then everything was normal. So I knew the promoter of Baltimore. And so when I got in line, I was like, holy crap. And I sent him a picture and I'm like, here's where I am. And he's just like, holy crap. He's like, that's the line to get in. I'm like, this is the COVID check line to get in. And he's like, damn. So by the time we're, I don't know, maybe like 30 feet away from the entrance, the whole line gets shifted around the building to this other entrance. And he takes all of his staff that were doing the COVID checks and he shoves them all down at the ticketing booth and makes it basically just goes, you check it when you get your ticket. And then everything moved so much faster. But I mean, I was sending him I sent him probably like 4 updates, like every 20 minutes. I was like, chick, here's where I am.
Yeah.
And he was like brainstorming it. So I feel like I'm the reason why that line got to move a lot faster on Saturday. But like once it was in there, though, you had to have your mask on if you were an attendee. Vendors, I believe they had to be checked, but then it was not required for vendors to keep it on. But everybody else had it, like, all the other creators I talked to, like, like Garth Ennis, Russ Braun, Philip Chang, or Cliff Chang, a couple other people I talked to, like everybody had their masks on anyway. But the weirdest part was you did not see a lot of kids. That was like the weirdest thing.
Right.
So, but other than that, it was packed, man. It was awesome. It was great. Everybody did great. That I talked to, and I took my team down. We were actually kind of vetting people for our show that's coming up in June, that we're hosting in downtown Pittsburgh. We're going into our 7th year this year, so fun times.
Cool.
So whenever travel restrictions don't suck and the world is a little bit better, we can probably fly you guys over and hang out. Maybe.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
sounds good.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. So, but cool.
Cool.
What else we got to talk about? Anything else?
Unless
Like
you
the
have
worst-
questions for
worst-
us. Do you have
Yeah.
questions for us?
This is like the worst petered out of
I've
an
never
interview
been.
we've
I've
ever
never
done.
been. I've never been interviewed before. So.
Well, actually, I would be curious, like, just how have you found the last year as well, more than a year now, as like retailers and stuff like.
It's been challenging in the sense that we all care very much about people. Like, I feel like that people in the comic industry just do. So, when we get people that come in that don't have a mask on or something, it can be very frustrating, like from the retailer side of it, to try to get them to understand that, we're just trying to do something to protect everybody, so that's been difficult. But I mean, other than that, like, our 99.9% of the people that come into our stores, like, they're great people and they want to follow the rules and they want to be safe and they want to get comics and hang out and get things back to normal as quick as we do. And I think the biggest challenge is we didn't, at least at the store that I'm at, John probably can say the same for the others, is I didn't expect it to be this crazy busy. It's just, it's just people just want card games, like, you know, they want Magic, they want Pokemon, they want graphic novels, especially graphic novels sold have just gone through the roof. Comic subscriptions, mangas, insane. We used to have 4 or 5 boxes, short like magazine boxes of for our subs, and now I think we're up to like 8 for how many people that we've added for subs. So I think that's honestly, over the mask thing, has been the biggest challenge, is how busy it's been. Just did not expect it, and for it to be this steady. So
and then about a year before COVID even happened, we had switched all the stores to the Comic Hub POS system. So which has been great, because you have a direct line to our customer. They have a website they can shop. You know, it's very easy for everything to work out. So it was kind of nice to get, you go in the morning, like during shutdown, the couple days that we did go in just to make sure things were going right. You know, you go in and you get like some online orders, you would just pack them up, and it'd just be call them and be like, I'm going to be here from this time to this time. If you want to come for curbside pickup, they come by, you hand them their stuff, and off they went. And you didn't have to like go out with a credit card machine or get change or anything. But it's been awesome. And a lot of people spent some of that time, I think, procuring their collections and figuring out what their holes were, and now they're trying to fill them all, especially those who kept working because they have a lot of extra money. So it's just been great. Like I think we're having the highest sales year we've ever had this year.
Wow.
I'm pretty positive. I know I was just telling our Pittsburgh Mills guys, I'm like, I used to run our Pittsburgh Mills store for 3 years in like the mid 2010s, and they had not exceeded my highest sales year until this year. And I was like, wow, guys, took you 7 years, but you did it. Good job, guys. Good job. And I meant it though. And they were like actually kind of impressed that they could do that, because it was a pretty high number. And it was awesome. So but all the stores are doing great.
On books like Time Before Time, go get your copy.
Just
I feel like we have that. We don't have like the reach of, say, like Ed Piskor and like Cartoon Kayfabe, but like we're growing, we're getting there. And I feel like when we mention something, like the people that watch our show, like when we mention it, they go out and get it. Like we had Perry Crow on Stud and the Bloodblade, people were going out and getting it. Chaotic Neutral, people were going out and doing Kickstarter, and we don't even get, you know, that's not even at our store. It's just a cool thing that he's making. So, you know, that was the other reason I wanted to have you on, because I feel like especially after finishing the first arc, that if people didn't get on now with the graphic novel being out, this is the perfect time to jump on. We had a lot of people jump on right off the bat, but I feel like this is the perfect time. Grab the graphic novel, you know, affordable price. There's $15-$16, you know. So it's a fantastic story, and I hope more people will pick it up, and because I think it's been awesome so far, and I hope it keeps going for a long time.
Well, we'll do our best to keep it going as long as we can.
As long
50 issues, right? 50 issues.
Yeah.
That's the minimum goal is 50 issues.
All right. I'll talk to Jack about it. I'll talk to Jack.
I should say keep it going as long as you want to, because as long as I feel like you guys want to, and then your heart's in it, you know, and then the story will continue to reflect it that way. So definitely,
it's funny you say that, and we're seeing like Saga come back here in a few months, and it's like I feel that's what they did. They were like, you know, we have a lot of other stuff going on. Our heart's just not gonna. They didn't want to put out crap, so they were like, we're gonna stop for a while, and then 2 years later, we're finally getting it back. So but
I kind of feel like
Yeah.
maybe that's why Rick Remender's ending Deadly Class too, because
Yeah.
he had I don't know if you're a fan of Deadly Class or not.
Yeah, no, I like it.
He had lost his dad, and it was a couple months after the show got canceled, which was a fantastic show. And then the book kind of went on a hiatus for a little while, and then he announced, it was coming back, and then it was going to end. It was going to wrap up with the last two arcs, and I feel like maybe that's probably why, like, his heart just, that's a lot of pain to go through with something like that. But he always finds some good things to come up with. He did what was it, Scumbag? Which has been a lot of fun. Yeah, and then his new one, A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance, was really good. The first issue for that. So,
man,
yeah, but
cool. All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps everything up. I mean, do you have any other questions for? Do you have any other questions for us,
other questions?
Or if you have anything that you want to put out there into the ether of, here's how you can get this stuff. Here's some other stuff that's coming up. Blah blah blah.
I'm gonna leave them here. Yeah.
Social media, whatever you want to do.
Do please check out Time Before Time. It's the team put a lot of work into it, and we think it's pretty good book. Yeah. And Write It in Blood, we also think that's quite a good book.
Well, I'm loving it so far.
Do you ever take a script? Do you ever take a finished book and marker over your names and then give it to your mom and have her read it and be like, tell me what you think of this?
No. I mean, getting either of my parents to read comics would be a struggle, I think. But,
okay.
even with my name on them, let alone if it didn't have them.
Fair. They're not like the kind that were like, oh, sweet, and then they frame it and put it up on the wall or magnet it to the kitchen.
No. I mean, they properly they regret. They don't regret, but I think when I was growing up, they were just they would look at the amount of money I was spending on comics and be like, what? Why did we buy him that first one? This is it's like a heroin addiction or something. It's just
right.
Without all the trouble.
Without all the trouble, of course. Yeah.
I'm sure my mom feels the same way about my video games, my music collection, and my comic collection. So, and all the guitars that sit around my house now.
I can tell you for sure my mom feels that way. She got me, they used to have the Sears catalog, the Christmas book, and inside they would have these comic boxes that they would just send you a couple crappy 90s books or whatever. And that's what she got me started on that. And then ever since I've been reading comic books, and she just why are you spending so much money on these? Why are you buying comic books all the time? And I told her the one year, I was like, if you go to a comic shop and buy me $1 comic for Christmas, I said it would be the best gift you ever got me. And she didn't do it. She would not do it. It's I think she hates it that much that I do it.
Wow.
Yep.
So all good. All right. So where can people follow you on social media?
The best place to find me is on Twitter. I'm at Rory McConville 2 because some bastard took Rory McConville and Rory McConville 1.
They're not related.
I don't know. Yeah, I just have to track down this person and get the Rory McConville handle back off them somehow.
You're gonna be like, "Yo, man, meet me in the parking lot of Thought Bubble this year.
Yeah.
We're gonna have it out for the better Rory."
Do you want me to go get in Twitter arguments with them and see if I can get them banned?
I've never actually looked up if there is an actual account. I assume there has to be.
Yeah, but, there has to be. Yeah.
Yeah. But probably been operated by some, I don't know, North Korean spam account now or something at this stage.
They're probably bots that are using your name to buy PlayStation 5s.
Yeah.
I feel that's the one thing that makes people hop to different social media platforms and also different email providers because they want it to not have that number. And then unless it's a number they chose. And then all of a sudden they're like, whatever. So every time we take somebody's information for Comic Hub and it's John Smith 426. I'm like, wow, I didn't realize there were 425 before you. And
Yeah,
they're just like, right? So,
Yeah.
or then it's like, I'm going to Hotmail. I'm like, who goes to Hotmail anymore? But
Yeah.
whatever.
I didn't even know Hotmail was a thing.
Right.
So when's issue 7 come out? Is that coming out in November or December?
7, I believe it's going to be out in November, but I think the exact date, I think it's possibly going to be the final week of November. I
Okay.
think possibly the paper shortages that are
Yeah, I've
hitting
heard.
the
Yeah.
industry at the
Yep.
moment are I think causing a couple of things to be jiggled around. But I think it should definitely be out in November at some point.
But the idea is for it
Cool.
to at least still be a monthly title.
Yeah, no, we're
Okay.
going to be continuing monthly as long as
Cool.
well, at least through the end of the second arc. But the plan is to always be monthly if we can.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I know it's probably like 9 o'clock at your time now.
It's
Something like that.
7. We've actually just went back an hour last night.
Oh,
but,
okay.
But yeah, it's quite dark outside now anyway.
Well, I mean, it is here, but it's also, Pittsburgh in October.
Yeah.
But
if you want to,
thank you seriously.
hang out,
Thanks for coming out.
when we disconnect, if you want to hang out when he ends it, I have a question for you too. So.
Oh yeah, sure.
But we really
All right.
appreciate you being on, and everybody, you can come to the stores, ask for Time Before Time. We've got the graphic novel of the first 5 issues. If we're out, let us know. We'll order it for you and read Time Before Time.
Yep.